and new WWE champion, Paul Bourgon. Put your hands
The
together for Paul,
beautiful-
everybody.
One of you guys has a crow problem.
Our Father, for I have sinned.
On the lips? I can't even make my own stuff funny. How am I going to make your stuff funny? Like, ha!
Never have I ever had sex in a public location.
Been a very
bad
boy.
That'll be 3 Hail Marys and a blowski.
It was intended to be a fart, but it turned out to be more than just a fart.
Music to my non-existent ears, man.
Yeah, buddy.
Here we go, boys. It's time for episode 11 of the Six Nutz podcast. I'm your host. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I'm your host, Dave. I'm joined, as always, by Jordan, Angus, and Paul Bourgon. Gentlemen,
Jordan, that
what's
opening, Jordan, you say music to my non-existent ears. Like, do you not have ears, or?
The small.
Oh, they're that. Okay, then it makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, that intro was fact-checked. And yes, he does have non-existent ears.
Good. We check
Welcome.
our facts here.
Absolutely. This is episode 11, man. Episode 11. And I'm going to get this right off the top, man. Do not forget to like and subscribe. Our subscriber base is kind of stalled a little bit, and it's making me very angry. And I've been sick for the last week. And when I'm sick, I'm angry. You do not want to be around me. So hit that subscribe button for crying out loud, would you?
Yeah. We've plateaued a little bit, eh? We plateaued.
Can you hate and unsubscribe? Like it's subscribe. People who subscribe have to go on this website or go on YouTube and
Yes.
What does it do? Does it like show up in your
The
More traffic.
subscribers, yeah, more traffic. We get more views, and the more, one day maybe we'll be monetized.
Yeah,
Once
but
we get up-
if I subscribe to like cat videos on YouTube, okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Does that mean anytime I go on YouTube, cat videos will pop up first, or does it mean that anytime I go on like Facebook or like Instagram, like I'll see that? Like, is it?
Yeah.
The only thing I subscribe to this is the only thing I subscribe to.
Good.
Yeah, well,
Good.
You should not only subscribe, but hit notifications. So whenever that channel, like ours, drops a new video, you will be notified, and then you immediately go and watch it 1,000 times to get our views up. So a little bit of homework. So anyway, we got a lot of stuff going on this episode 11. I think I've said that 4 times. Yeah, 1-1. We're going to do Hold My Beer. We're going to talk about some great shows we've been to, and we're going to do a new segment called Trivia with Paul. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be epic. But let's start, gentlemen. Let's start with Hold My Beer. Here we go. Let's start. Let's go in alphabetical order. Jordan, let's start with you, man.
You want my last name, eh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm like thinking about it. I'm like J, A, B, C, D, F, G, J, and then yeah, you win. You win again.
I got myself a lager, a authentic Czech taste, Kozel. It is 4.6% alcohol, and I picked it because it's actually got a looks like a mountain goat with a beer, which I thought was kind of badass.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
Oh,
That is the greatest of all time beers. Nice.
oh, nice sound too.
Beautiful stuff. Beautiful.
Nice taste. Nice taste. About time. The beer I had last week, I know it was non-alcoholic. It read me into that, but it tasted so bad.
Who the fuck? Gets
I know.
beer for the taste?
I know.
Like, I mean, it's what happens after is why I'm drinking beer. Like, I'm not drinking beer for like, this is a nice, like a nice.
Got a nice hop
Oh, yeah.
cake.
You know?
It's a delicious warm stout. Love it. All right, let's go to Paul Bourgon because we're going alphabetically. So B comes after A. So
I'll tell you a story that's. I mean, it's not really a downer, but it's I get made fun of this a lot. Okay, why I usually will pick up this beer. It's Carlsberg. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I like Carlsberg, and again, like a lot of people's like, why the fuck you drink that? It tastes like shit. And I don't know if it's just the reasoning behind it. I remember when I was young, my father I remember like my dad passed away when I was 5 years old, right? And but I can remember I can remember this one time I was like 4, and I was sitting on the couch with him, and I think we were watching boxing. My dad was really a sports guy, and he had a beer out there, and he gave me the cap, and I was playing with the cap, the Carlsberg cap, and I can remember looking at Carlsberg. And so it's weird, you know, to this day now, like I really like this beer. Like it could be made with like piss and like butt juice, and I'm like, no, this is like, good, you know. But like I like it because of the memories, you know, that gives me. So yeah, Carlsberg. So cheers.
Nice.
Cheers.
Oh, you guys should see the girl walking by my house right now. Anyway, back to the podcast.
Turn your camera.
Mm-mm.
All
Then
right.
you have to get permission from her if we can record her. It just comes off as really creepy, you know.
Hey, that's a way to open the door, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to end this segment on a real downer.
Okay.
I've been sick the last week, and to be honest, the thought of drinking alcohol right now is enough to make me puke.
Dave, don't you do it.
I'm drinking tea, man.
Motherfucker.
I'm drinking hot tea, man.
Okay, can I say something now? Can I put something out there now?
You may.
From this moment on, I don't care if we're hungover. I don't care if we're sick. I don't care if we're fucking like we just found out we have stage 5 fucking stomach cancer.
How did you know?
If we're gonna do hold my beer, we gotta drink a beer. That's the part of it. It's like the hot sauce. See? Like,
all right.
You guys agree on this? We all agree on it.
I agree. I agree.
But from this moment on, come hell or high water, we have to have a beer. Okay.
Then it's got to be alcoholic. Then it can't be non-alcoholic.
No, you can't be. What's a non-alcoholic beer? Like, you know, drink some
But
water.
what about our sober viewers?
Sober viewers.
Yeah, we're not. That's not the market.
Beer. You know,
that's not the market we're after. But
yeah,
I know
really.
It's not called
if
Hold
you're
My
sober
Tea.
and watching this fucking podcast, like, yeah,
something wrong with you.
If you're sober and you're watching this, you've turned it off by now. Let's be honest.
Oh, absolutely.
So, but you know what? You know what? I'm sorry, man, but next time if I'm sick, I'll do it. I may puke on the air, but
puke. That's
if
part
that's
of the podcast.
All right.
Yeah.
If you puke while we're doing this, our ratings will just skyrocket, man. You'll go viral.
Do you remember the one after the comedy, the Cultures show, the morning after we did it, and the 3 of us are just like, fuck, I'm just beer.
Yeah.
You know, like we did. It was awful, but like it's fun. It's fun to feel like shit.
But you know what? I think Jordan had water that morning.
Yes,
we let him off the hook. You had water. We let you off the hook.
Do you know how much vodka I had the night before?
Oh, Jordan, come on, man! I was still hammered from the night before. I'm like, might as well turn it back on.
All right. Well, let's make a pledge as of this moment. No matter what the circumstances are,
pinky swear,
you
guys.
You gotta have your beer, man.
Pinky swear. There it is. It's locked in. You
Yeah.
gotta have your beer. I like it.
Hey, have you ever played rock paper scissors? I thought it was a great joke.
Play with myself all the time. Yeah. Can't seem to beat me.
Yeah. All right. So I know, Paul, you wanted to talk about comedy shows, man. Like the best shows you've ever been to. Maybe just describe what
what I meant by that was because I was thinking about it. And I watch a lot of this guy a lot, and like I've seen Mitch Hedberg, you know, I've seen Norm Macdonald, like I've seen Louis C.K. and I've seen, like, you know what I mean, and Bill Burr. I've gone to see the big wigs, so to speak. I remember, I'd say this was probably 2008, 2009, could have been earlier or after, around that time. I was at Absolute Comedy, and never heard of this guy before. He was the headliner, and his name is Sugar Sammy. And in my fucking lifetime, not watching TV or not being at a show as a comedian or on the bill, I have never in my life seen a comedian absolutely like hold a crowd in the palm of his hand. Every word that was coming out of his mouth, people were laughing at. The room was just constant noise of laughter, and he was so funny. And I still, to this day, I watch like his clips. I've seen him twice now. Went to see him last year. And if you guys don't know who Sugar Sammy is, you know who he is. Jordan, you like doing crowd work and stuff like that. When people talk about doing crowd work, it's immediately who I think of. The guy is he's absolutely out of this world.
He's a nice dude too. Like he's
incredible.
not.
I talked to him after that show,
yeah.
and I walked up to him after, and I just sort of tapped him and was like, "Hey man, good show." He's like, "Oh, thanks a lot." And then I fucking as ballsy was, added him to Facebook and then sent him a message, and he fucking responded back to me, and I'm like,
nice.
Fucking, I'm the
That's
man.
amazing,
You know what I
man.
mean? But that's
amazing.
awesome, right? Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like anyway, it's
his brother actually. I'm friends with his brother Sid. He does a whole bunch of yeah. Add him on Facebook, man. He does a ton of shows in Montreal. There's Montreal Comedy Club.
Yeah.
Like
Samir is his name, right?
Yeah, Samir's his name. His brother's name is Sid. I mean, yeah, it's not hard to get in touch with.
It's awesome.
That's very cool when they respond, man. Very cool.
Yeah,
isn't it ever cool? It's not to keep ranting on about it, but Mitch Hedberg, talking to Mitch Hedberg, I reached out to his ex-wife one night.
Get
I
out.
sometimes do that, eh? Like I'll write like Dwayne the Rock Johnson and be like, why do you go to bed? Why do you wake up so early? Is it because you go to bed so, like, you know what I mean? But never get a response. And I'm like, I was like, why didn't Mark Wahlberg get back to me? Anyway, I wrote to Mitch Hedberg's ex-wife, and she got back to me. I said, "You want to hear a story about your husband?"
Crazy.
And she's like, "Absolutely, I do." Like, she's a Canadian. She's from Canada, and just talking to her because I respect him so much, I was like, "Oh my god!" And she was like responding to me. You know, it's
that's cool, man.
It's like when
Very
Jenna
cool.
Jameson got back to me. I was like, this is incredible. But yeah, it is cool when people get back to you. You know, they give you the time of day.
It's very cool. Very cool. I think the best show, and this is maybe recency bias, but one of the best shows where it was laughter from literally start to finish was Mark Norman. When he came about a year and a half ago, he came to Ottawa. He played at Algonquin, the Commons Theater.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Maybe about 3,000 people. It was packed, and he was literally laughs every 5 to 10 seconds from start to finish for an hour solid. He was just incredible. Just incredible.
Jordan, what about you?
That's a tough one. That I've seen live.
You're like,
yeah, it was totally. Actually, I think I told you guys this. Like, I try not to go too often to comedy shows myself because I don't know. I have a weird like work relationship with it. I don't want to be at work when I'm off, where I could just watch somebody on my TV or something. Right? I don't need to be around a bunch of people socializing. I like to kind of be alone.
Like porn stars probably don't go to strip joints. You know what I mean? Like,
no, right? Yeah.
But I guess I can understand that. But I mean, I'm sure you went to them before you started comedy. Like I'm sure you've gone to a show and seen someone absolutely crush a room. Like you've never, you know what I mean?
I've seen somebody absolutely crush a room, but I usually was on the bill. Yeah. I don't. It's not me. But no, beforehand, like I mean, I grew up in a not financially well off family, so going to a comedy show was kind of out of the question. Yeah. And then when I did, like poor, like poor. Candles was light at one point.
I thought my name was Get Wood until I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's cool.
But yeah, no, I don't know, man. I've seen a few really, really good comics that have held the room. Jeremy Hotz is one of them. And like everybody, like you said, just like I've seen Sugar Sammy, and I mean, like you said, he does the same thing. The crowd work is insane. Everybody just watches him. Like
it's unreal.
Like idolize.
It's unreal, and he's talented too, man. The guy like, he speaks multiple languages. He's charismatic. You know, he's good looking. He's confident. Like I'm not saying I want to be him, but I can honestly say seeing that before I was like anywhere close to being a comedian. The reason why I want to bring this up is because it had a huge impact. You know, like of course Mitch Hedberg did, and you know even Jeremy Hotz. I remember watching a few of his Just for Laughs when I was young. And being like, oh my God, this guy's like the sound of the room is what I'm talking about. This whole point of this.
Yeah.
We've all done shows, and like I did 3 shows yesterday, and I mean, if you added them all up, I maybe got out of all, you know?
Yeah.
So like I remember one show that I did where I got off stage after, and one of the guys who was standing there walked up to me. He's like, dude, they were laughing at every fucking thing you were saying. You know, and you're up there, you don't hear it, but you do. But like to hear that from someone is like, you know, like it reminded me of that. Like that's what you're going for. You know what I mean? And I'm just telling you, out of all the comedians I've ever seen, You know, he's not the most famous one in the world, but I was
Which
very
is-
impressed with him. You know, I give him his credit.
It's crazy. I think he's probably the most underrated comic with like,
He's
you ask people and if they don't really follow any comedy, they have no idea who he is, but he travels worldwide. This is what he does for a living, is stand-up comedy.
and it fits into any room. Dave, do you know who he is? Do you know who Sugar Sammy is?
No, I don't. I've heard of him,
God,
but
do
I've
yourself
never
a
seen him.
favor. Do yourself a favor.
You have to
Yeah,
watch
yeah,
him.
Yeah.
I'll check him out for sure. But one guy that just came to mind was very early in his, well, not early, but before he got into all these game shows and shit. Howie Mandel was incredibly funny as a stand-up. Like,
Yeah.
incredibly funny. Like he was like really, really funny. Start to
Yeah.
finish.
I just say, like, as you see a show or you watch a special, you watch a clip, and it's the noise coming from the crowd is what like it puts me in awe. Like, oh my, like having the crowd to the point where whatever you say, they're laughing at, because it's just like, and that what that means is they're completely hooked into you. You know, they're completely like paying attention to what you're saying, because you know you've got them. You know, like remember Jordan last night? Jordan and I did the open mic, and the crowd was a little talky. Like a lot of people were there just to drink, kind of thing. So it's tough to.
Shit.
You wanted to grasp their attention, and you wanted to, and I'm just saying, like, it's there's an art to that alone. Like, just get up on stage, tell jokes is one thing, but like putting people in the palm of your hand, man, is like
I felt like that at our Six Nutz comedy show, the Barley Mow. The room was by the time I got up there, I felt like just the way the show was going. And then I went up though, and I was like, they were really laughing a lot at the beginning of the show. I was like, oh, this is a very interested crowd, which is, like you said last night, the open mic, they weren't. Yeah. They were more interested in getting drunk and having a conversation with each other than.
It's funny you say that. I noticed it. I noticed when you did the bits that bite and you did your bit, because I'm sitting behind you. It's a very different perspective when you're up on stage, and as a comedian, I'm sitting behind you, looking at the reaction of the crowd, as opposed to being in the crowd, looking at you and just hearing the reaction. So I was looking at the people's faces, and they were all like, they had this, they're like this, you know? It's like, even though you did a bit, like just a short bit, for that moment, man, you had them, and it was like, I was like, fuck, he's gonna win. And you did, you know?
Yeah, but they were like that though, because you were in the swanky green room when I went up, so they were like that the entire set that I went up. Like they loved it, and I mean, thank goodness I knew a lot of them. A lot of them are Dave's family as well, and I mean, they've seen us quite a lot, so they kind of know where we're going with a lot of our jokes. I brought maybe a little bit of new stuff that they hadn't seen, but the people even who didn't know who we were, who had come to the show and we had no relations to, even they were like, and that's just
Dave,
capitalize on
you
that.
guys, because Dave, your mom and your sister come out to a lot of shows, and like Monica's at a lot of your shows, and I mean, I got friends now that are like, oh, Paul, you're gonna do the Andre the Giant joke, and like, I got a question for you guys. Do you guys ever feel like anxious about your material? Like, do you ever feel the need to switch it up, even though you're trying to polish it and you know it's not quite there, but you're like, no, I don't want to say the same thing, because there's so people there that are all going to hear it, you know? Like there's a few people last night, like that were the guys with the backflips and shit. As I was telling that 11's joke, okay, what I was finishing off with, which you guys know, just before I got to it, I heard one of the guys say, "Oh, I know this one," you know, and he was like saying he's like ruining my joke, but like it was like, fuck, like that's the whole thing about coming up with a new joke every time. You don't want that. Like, I don't want people to fucking know that. I want to wow them all. Like, I don't want to come up there and just be the same old song and dance. But
I had this discussion with my other mother, because a lot of the time my parents, they either one wants to come to a show or the other one wants to come to a show, and I try my best to say, here are certain dates I think you really should try to make it to. Because I want you to see something different, not the same stuff. And I'll be honest with you, if they're really supportive of your craft and what you're doing,
they won't care.
They don't care. They don't care. Either way, like
because we're doing it for a crowd that's like, you know, like your buddies are coming, your family's coming to support you. Like they're coming to support you. But like, what you want is someone who has no idea who you are to be like, oh my god, that's so funny, that's so funny, you know, not like, oh, I heard this, and bored. You know? Like that's what I'm saying. Do you ever get anxiety? Did either of you ever get
a little
like,
bit? But that's why I try to change. Like I know the punchlines are usually the same, but I try to change how I lead into it, and just kind of, yeah, you might know where I'm going, but I'm throwing you off a little bit and trying to make it somewhat different, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, totally. I get anxiety every time I go up, anyways.
Yeah. No, it is pretty stressful, man.
Yeah,
for sure. Like I was in a situation. I did a show in Elmer at Shea Putters, and I had a certain
With
set
Lewis.
list. What's that?
With Lewis.
Yeah. And I had a certain set list I was ready to go in with, and as the crowd started arriving, I noticed that it was a bit of an older crowd, so I surprised myself. I was able to change the material, and actually changed material on stage without even thinking about it. Like
Same jokes, but
it was
your
weird. No, actually, I was doing a bit, and then I kind of led into a completely different bit that I hadn't even thought of until that very moment.
Oh wow!
And it worked really well, and I thought, got off the stage, and I said,
the cuff. It wasn't you acting like it was off the cuff. It was whether you like it or not, it was off the cuff, and
it was literally like I got off stage, and I thought, how did I do that? Like it was kind of cool. It was the first time it ever happened, and I thought, wow, that's really cool.
It's weird. It's happening.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
Like it was a good weird, and the crowd like responded really well to the material. I thought, fuck yeah.
I've done that once. That's happened to me once, and I have it on film. I was on Absolute, and I don't know where it came from. Out of nowhere, I said, "Do you guys ever shave your pubes for no reason?" Like I went over to my mom's house today, and I don't know where the hell it surfaced or whatever, but it just came out, and I got a blast of laughter to it. I was like, "Fuck, man!" Like, I don't know if it was the look on my face or the sound of my voice, like, but like, you know how when you try to like, oh, and then how about this, or like, you just thought of it. It's there's something to it, man. The art of this fucking craft.
But for me, it was like before. I didn't know my material well enough that I was so focused on getting the material right. But then I rehearsed, and it's like it's in your muscle memory, so that I could wake up and just do a bit without even thinking about it. And now the focus is no longer on the material; it's on the audience, which is really cool.
Yeah, and you gotta
really
learn
cool.
Yeah, like at that retirement home yesterday for all our viewers in Germany and shit. We did a retirement home for like there must have been what, like 75, 80
about 100 actually.
About 100 people there, and like I like what you're saying. I was listening because I was Bullet. I was listening to what you were saying, and I was like trying to gauge it that way, but like I didn't really have that much time. But I kind of like I thought to myself, because it was a retirement home, and I didn't want to be like I had anxiety of wearing a hat. And then I had anxiety of putting my hair in a ponytail because old people look at that as like silly. But like that Edward Scissorhands joke, where I'm like, did anybody ever wonder about Edward Scissorhands wiping his butt? Like, fucking, when he was jerking off, his dick must look like Rambo's back. I'd say that at a comedy club, but there I was like, does anybody ever wonder how he does his pee? Like that was how I changed up kind of thing. But it's it's funny how you do that at the last moment,
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And retirement homes are different because I did one a few months ago, and it was just me, and I did like 30 minutes of stuff and then a game show, and it was like crickets. But after the show, everybody came up and said, "Oh my God, you were so funny." And I thought, "My God, I'm bombing for an hour."
That's what happened yesterday.
But the silence there doesn't mean they're not enjoying it.
It just means it just means they're having a stroke.
Yeah, exactly. This means that they're having a nap.
I really wanted to make like jokes. Like at one point I said that like I did my Mozart joke, but Mozart. But I say it as in you guys know what Mozart is? Not Mozart, like a Mozart. So it gets it in their head that Mozart wasn't only a musician, but he also painted pictures of castles surrounded by water. Mozart. And I asked him, like, did any of you even know Mozart? But that was the closest I came to starting to pick on old people. Because, we're a bunch of young people that, but it is different. It's very different. First time I've done that, and I liked it because you're right. They came up to you after and they you know, they were happy. They were just happy to have people in there entertaining them, you know?
Yeah. It was kind of like being at Pub 101, but you get good feedback after.
Yeah.
As opposed to
And
like,
you can see.
Yeah, and you could, yeah, exactly. That spotlight, somebody's got to bring that up, man. That spotlight, Jesus, it's enough to blind you. Yeah. But speaking of shows, I mean, and this is not a comedy show, but I was thinking about this, Paul, when you brought up this subject. Probably the most insane crowd that I've ever been to was the a Beach Boys concert at the Ottawa X, like about a gazillion years ago. The crowd, there was about 30,000. The crowd was insane. And I went to the bathroom partway through the show, and the stadium was literally shaking because everybody was up dancing. The stadium was literally shaking. Like, that was by far the most insane crowd ever.
It's got to be the same feeling, man, for like any kind of entertainer. Like, you know, I was saying about how I saw Wafik at the Queens of the Stone Age concert that was just came the other day. And I leaned over to my sister at their opening. I know if you don't know Queens of the Stone Age is like you don't like fucking good music, right? But
Yeah.
I was listening to the open with a song that I was dying for them to just play it, and they opened with it, right? But then they came on stage, played right away, and then after the first song, he was talking, and then, you know, the crowd's sort of like an Ottawa crowd, right, at a hockey game, like kind of quiet and like the odd person doing this, and he was talking, and they played another song, and people in the crowd do this, and I lean over to my sister, I'm like, I wonder if it's the same feeling right now. Like, I wonder if he's like pissed that the crowd isn't mosh pitting, because they probably do concerts some places where their first act, their first song creates a mosh pit, you know, and then the crowd for the rest of the night is going wild. It was the same as you go up on stage and tell your first joke, and it might not kill, and then you feel like you're spending your whole set trying to get them in the hand. But like Beach Boys, you know, like they must have felt awesome after that. Like they probably didn't look at each other. You can't look at each other and be like, oh, that was a rough one. Eh?
Oh my
like,
God, yeah.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, things I think about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I went to see. This is again way off topic. I went to see Sting and Peter Gabriel. They were touring together about 5 years ago,
and it was Fields of Gold.
It was in Calgary. I'm not sure if he did. I'm sure he did, but it was kind of weird because I mean they've been doing music for so long. There were literally people in walkers. Nobody stood up for the whole show.
Yeah.
And everybody was like so old that holy frick, is this?
It's got to have an impact on them as musicians. You know what I mean? Like for what they're used to, what they like, or they've been doing it for so long that they just don't care. But like,
they don't care.
You got to think like I can't imagine people just getting up there and like, it's a job, just do it. You know, like when Metallica gets up there and they fucking they go bam, 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 and you know Master of Puppets is coming. And like the crowd, the feeling, I'm getting goosebumps right now thinking about the fucking concert I went to see Metallica. Like it was like it puts the hair up on the back of your neck when four guys, okay, like just you basically turn 60,000 people into like your own private army. There's something about that, you know what I mean? You must feel so good after, you know?
Oh yeah. Well, that reminds me. I'm a big fan of the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, which is kind of a ska. I love them, man. And they have this one guy in the band. He doesn't play an instrument. He doesn't sing. He just dances. He's like the dancing guy. And they interviewed him and they said, what do you think about when you're on stage? Because all he does is dance. And he said, well, sometimes I think about, did I turn the coffee maker off? You know, did I feed the dog and stuff like that? Like he just zones out and dances. Then that's all he does.
You're doing it for so long, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can honestly say, and Jordan, I think I've talked to you about this. I think we have, about like when you get up on stage, how all your nerves and everything that are there, when you're up there after like the first 30 seconds, yeah, exactly. You're all about the show. Never have I, not once yet, have I been up on stage and be like, I wonder what my cat's doing right now. In my head, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm so like, You know, it's I've yet to get to that relaxed point where I can just dance around and be like, did I, close the garage door? Or...
I could do imagine.
I don't know if it's different for us though, because like me, like you said, it's all gone. You lock in, right? You are now. This is work. You're out to prove something. You're out to do stuff. I get little like missions in my messed up little brain when I'm up there. Like if I see somebody with their arms fucking crossed and like I'm
Yeah.
going at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I see somebody hasn't laughed, then like I'm coming for you, and it's just bang, bang, bang. So I don't know if they have like at least a start, if they have the same mentality, or if they're just there, you know, remember my chords, remember what the lyrics are, just have a good time with it, and then fucking.
It's probably a little easier too, in a way that like I played music on stage before, and it's night and day to the feeling of performing for an audience for whatever you're doing. But like, you know, they say take your microphone out and put the stand away because it's a subconscious barrier or whatever. You know what I mean? You can use it or you can't, whatever. But like having a guitar and a microphone and then 4 other guys, one guy's playing the drums, the other guy's playing the bass or whatever, like one guy's dancing around, it takes a lot of the pressure off, right? That's why people respect comedians so much, because you're nothing else but you up there, you know what I mean? So you really do have to like be able to push that away. Like, oh, that guy's not paying attention. Oh, that guy's on his phone. Or, you know, that guy's fucking, you know, whatever.
I like how you mentioned the microphone stand movement. Like that's your barrier with the crowd, and that's like for me, that's why I don't use the stand, because like I know a lot of comics, they do use the stand. That's part of their like, I guess their repertoire or whatever, which is cool. But I remove that because I want the crowd to be in it with me, right? Like that's part of it for us, right? We need you to be engaged with us, even if we don't do the crowd work. We want you to be engaged in what we're saying. We want you to actually listen and pay attention. All focus needs to be on me, so let me be involved with you. I don't want you to feel separated from me at this moment. And
first thing I learned when first time I did stand up, first time ever, the guy who was on the show, who I'll keep his name for private, but he came up to me after and he was like, "Okay, I gotta tell you something. You're chewing the mic," because I was like, everybody in here, like I was Eminem rapping, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One thing, you know, and then I'm very conscious of that, like that you know, distance. Can you hear me right? Could you hear me right? Yeah, I'm very conscious of it now. And then the other thing was, he's like, when you get up on stage, take the microphone out and put it aside, because you remove, especially as a newcomer, if you're nervous or if you're tweaky or you're not polished. It's not a part of your set. Not a part of your set because you lean on or whatever, but part of your set because you're casual and you're, you know, like you can. It doesn't matter if it's there or not. But when you're just starting off and you might not be you know, like this story right now, how it's dragging on. Like he said, take it out because it's the subconscious barrier at that point. And when you take it out and put it aside, you're getting in their face now. There's nothing. You know what I mean? And it's as much as you don't want to believe it, it kind of does make sense in a way that you're I don't know, you're not trying to mind fuck them, but you're taking away all the things that can, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like a barrier.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jordan.
I did a show at Pub 101, and like you, Paul, I won't name who this comic was. And this was kind of when I was getting back into comedy again. And this comic, I guess he'd been there a few times, but he put the microphone stand kind of in the obstruction of the view for where we could see him. So I casually, like, I'm trying to be nice after the show, and I'm just like, hey man, have you been doing comedy for a long time? He goes, yeah, a few months. Oh, good job. You had a great set, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, if you want to get into more shows, go to the OCC, blah, blah, like trying to give me tips. And I was like, well, like, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, don't go, like, I'm not going to go up to fucking Tiger Woods and tell him how to chip. You know what I mean?
No.
Because I made a chip once.
Yeah.
Like,
move
that's
the
a
mic
problem
stand.
like everybody seems to have, Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, keep your opinion, unless you're an expert at something.
Like,
and not to mention, don't like Rick last night, my buddy Rick, again, for people who don't know, one of my close buddies, a real good friend of mine, who I've been talking to all throughout my process. We've been friends for years and years and years. And he's been very supportive over it a lot. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm like, why don't you do it? Why don't you do it? And he finally took the plunge and did it last night.
Right on.
And like, you know, like I was trying to, like I said, I was trying to get him to get the microphone closer, and you went up and moved, you know, the mic, but and all that shit. But
turn the volume. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. So,
well, we should do a show. We should do a segment on pet peeves one day, because one of my biggest pet peeves is unsolicited advice.
Yes,
and it's even more of a pet peeve when a comedian tries to give you unsolicited advice
exactly.
on your material.
And Dave,
Like,
that's
don't.
exactly my point. But so that I just remembered, you just reminded me. It was throughout this whole time. There's been months where I've been trying to get him to come out. Like when we had the open mic and and shit. Like, but he's always been like, I can't do it this Thursday. I got this going on. I can't do that Thursday. And I've been peppering him. But like, never have I been like, do this, man, do that. I've kept I wanted to help because like you know what I mean? Because but I didn't want to offend him or push him or to make him feel like I know more than he does. You know what I mean? And then come to find out, his set was fucking like really well done and prepared. There's, like I'm in my head, I'm like, oh, I'll be the judge of that. But like he started with a joke that he wanted to tell, and then spent his set explaining it, and then his finishing joke was, okay, so why did this? Like, and then he ended the joke with what he just explained. Like he crafted that. It wasn't just 4 minutes of a nervous guy. You know what I mean? So I didn't. Yeah. I now I'm so glad I never did it because he impressed me. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't unsolicited advice, man. No.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Paul Bourgon.
That's me.
Are you ready?
I'm ready for everything.
Are you ready? All right. It is time for Trivia with Paul. Look at that. Jordan and I are dancing. Paul is not impressed. What the hell is this?
I'm thinking is this Dave playing the piccolo and the organ?
I will say that I was playing the flute at the end on this one.
The skin flute.
Yeah, skin flute. But yeah, I was really impressed with that intro. Jordan and I were dancing, and Paul is like, what the F?
Oh, so you can see me while those things go on?
100%.
He can.
Like this.
I can see you. Yeah, you're like, what? Yeah. What is this garbage?
I can't see anybody else, but I know Dave's watching, so I try to be stupid.
Yeah, I was watching him, and I'm laughing. All right, it's a new segment we're trying. We figure it can't be any worse than marbles. It's Paul is a self-proclaimed.
Nope, not at all. No, everybody knows it. It's not just me.
All right, so Paul is a world acclaimed trivia expert. So we figure, you know what, we're going to try and stump Paul. So Jordan and I have a few trivia questions. We're going to try and stump you. I will start. And then,
former trivia champion. Thank you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, former trivia champion.
Okay.
Yeah. On your show.
Yes, on our show.
Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. All right. So we got 2 trivia experts and 1 not trivia expert. All right. So Paul Bourgon, I will start. And I figure let's start easy, man. Let's start easy. And I figure if you don't get this, we got to end the show immediately. So here's the first question. What country does Forrest Gump travel to as part of the All-American Ping Pong team?
Vietnam. China. He goes to China.
All right. The answer is China. Fuck Vietnam. Oh my God.
What country does he go to for the war? Yeah.
Shit. He got the first one wrong. All right. No, you did recover. You did say China. So well done.
Listen to the full question. I'm sorry.
Well done. All right. Jordan, you want me to bring up the question and then you could read it?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
So you don't read. Okay, here we
go.
I'm
like, please give me a Van Damme question. Please give me a Van Damme.
All right,
question.
Here we go. Yeah. Here's Jordan's first question.
The Addams Family, Back to the Future, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit all have this in common.
The Addams Family, Back to the Future. Christopher Lloyd.
Yes.
Yes. Woo!
Yep.
2 for 2, baby. All right, 2 for 2. All right, let's go. I'll bring
Can you guys just hold on? Can you guys just hold on 1 second? Fuck yeah! Okay,
yeah. Yes. All right. Another softball question here, Paul. Which Star Wars characters appear in Indiana Jones?
Star Wars characters are Harrison Ford. And which Indiana Jones?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, well, so Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, Keith Whitcomb wasn't in it. I'm going through every fucking person in these. Like, you don't know what. Like, are you just saying in general? Harrison Ford is one of them.
He
Are you
is
saying
one of them.
all the Star Wars movies?
Which Star Wars? I don't know. I would say all of the Indiana Jones. I just pulled it off
Out of
the
all
internet,
the
and
Indiana
that's how it
Jones
read.
movies, who was in the Star Wars movies?
Which Star Wars characters appear in Indiana Jones?
Okay, well, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, James Earl Jones wasn't. Oh, Yoda. Yeah. No, all I know on that one, I could say the only one I can say obviously is Harrison Ford.
Yep.
Mark Hamill wasn't in any of them. Shia LaBeouf wasn't. Carrie Fisher wasn't in both. How much time do I get? 30 minutes?
Yeah, sure. We got an hour.
We got an hour.
Raiders of the Lost Ark? No. How many are there?
There are 2 more.
2 more.
Yeah. And they're not people.
What?
They're not people.
I think it's like Easter eggs, right? Like, is that what you're referring to?
What characters were in
All right, here, I'll bring them up. It was R2D2 and C3PO.
Yeah, little Easter eggs in the.
Jones?
Yeah, but it's I guess just appearances, so you see them on screen like that. I don't remember what scene it was, but
Guys, what the fuck did I tell you? You know, like
all right.
What was yeah.
Look, okay.
not my question.
I'll give you Harrison Ford, and we'll give this one a because it's kind of a trick question. So we'll give that one to you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's gonna keep me up tonight. I'm gonna wake up like fuck stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Which Indiana Jones do you know was it in? I'm trying to think. Like,
it's one of I think the first 2.
Raiders of the Lost Ark and then Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I can't remember which one, but it's like it's an Easter egg. It's
kind of
maybe.
A trick question.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that either, honestly.
All right, we'll let you. Well, you got Harrison Ford, so we'll give that one to you. All right, Jordan. Here's your next question.
He's gonna hate Star Wars after this. What year did the best Star Wars film, the Holiday Special, air? What year?
What, the Holiday Special?
Yeah, the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Guys,
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint. It had Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, so it was the originals. The original film came out in 1977.
Yeah.
So what year did the special come out in?
79?
So close. 78.
Fuck
1978.
Yeah, I'll tell you this right now. I Star Wars I watched a couple times in my life, and then and this isn't justification for me not knowing the answer, but it's reasoning. I boycotted Star Wars years ago because they're just making Star Wars like the guy who fucking opened the door for the Emperor. Yeah, like they're making a movie about every one of them now, and it's just so annoying that they're just ringing out every last drive.
100%.
So I boycott it, so I don't watch them ever.
100%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
all right, all right. This next one, Paul, is a Edward Scissorhands question.
Hit me with it.
All right. What occupation does Diane West's character Peg have in Edward Scissorhands?
She's an Avon lady.
Avon salesperson. Let's go. Good job.
Yeah.
So he nailed that one. So I'm not keeping track. I think you're like 1 for 4, 3 for 4. Nope. I mean,
3 for 5.
3 for 5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's Jordan's next question. It is a there you go.
How many movies has Jean-Claude Van Damme been in?
Oh my God.
Give you an approximate.
Very tough because he's done a lot of movies beforehand.
Yeah, if you can give me an approximate number, if it's within that range.
I'd say 40 something.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, that many?
Oh yeah. Like
oh my God.
Probably 40 or well, like definitely in the late 30s, early 40s. I would be surprised if it was more than 50. Then that's because they're including like Like he did a softcore porn before, you know. Like I could tell you, there's no retreat, no surrender, Black Eagle, like all before Bloodsport, Kickboxer for the Bloodsport, you know, all that shit came. He had like 3 or 4 movies where he was like a dancer in one movie, you know.
So
Jordan, what's the actual answer?
The actual answer, and they had to be super vague on it, is at least 67.
Yeah, it's mental. Like he's
He's been in a lot.
That's
you know what?
crazy.
He's been in like you talk about Easter eggs. Movie Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
He's a brief cameo in that. You know what I mean? But anyway. Fuck.
Wow. All right.
Ask me some Bloodsport questions. Yeah.
Well, I think it'll be better when we do like a show, like a Seinfeld or something. But here's the last question I have for you, Paul Borgo, is what job does Will Hunting have in Good Will Hunting?
Fucking kidding me? He's a janitor at MIT.
Correct.
Yeah. Is that your thing? Coming to some bar and you pawn up some obscure passage of your own to impress some guys and girls and embarrass my friend? See, the sad thing about a guy like you is that in 20 years, you're going to look back in this moment, you're going to realize there are 2 certainties in life. 1, don't do that. And 2, you dropped $150,000 in a fucking education guy, $1.50 late charges at the public library.
There you go, man. All right. There's 2 more questions, and they're both Jordan. So I'll bring up your second to last one, Jordan.
What is the highest grossing comedy special?
Kevin Hart, wasn't it?
Ooh.
No. I really thought you would have got this one.
Give him 3 guesses. Give him 3
Yeah.
guesses.
2 more. You
Yeah.
Like, give him a
should
hint.
know this.
Hint. Do we get a hint?
I'll give him a hint. He is also a black comic.
Okay.
Actually, the top 4 highest grossing comedy specials are all black comedians.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the biggest penises, too.
Well, I mean,
Was it not? It wouldn't be Eddie Murphy, would it? Could be. Eddie
now
Murphy?
which special?
Oh, so he's got the comedian right.
Well, Delirious, he had
Okay.
There's a huge crowd of Delirious. Raw was in my opinion, better than just older. So do I have to choose one of the 2?
Yep. It is one of the 2.
I'm gonna say just because of the fact that the crowd was so big at Delirious. Are you saying highest grossing, like
Made the most money.
made the most money, like
All time?
to this
All time.
date?
Okay.
All
to this
time.
day.
Delirious.
Okay.
It's Raw.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, he
Yeah,
had
I
3
was surprised
guesses.
about that too. Yeah, I was surprised about that too.
Wow.
That was movie trivia, not what's 17 times 84? I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Last question from Jordan. Here we go.
The movie Way of the Dragon, we got to witness Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris fight. Who won?
Way of the Dragon? Do you mean
Yeah.
Game of Death?
Nope, Way of the Dragon. This is a 50-50 answer.
Well, yeah, but who won?
He gets
Yep.
2 guesses.
He gets 2 guesses.
I'll tell you who'd win in real life is Chuck Norris.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. It would be Chuck Norris in real life.
But I gotta say who won is Bruce Lee.
It was Bruce Lee.
Yeah. All
When has Bruce
right.
Lee ever not won in a movie? Yeah. You know, Bruce
Nice.
Lee's like 5'7", like 130 pounds. Bruce Lee wouldn't last 5 seconds against a guy his size as an MMA fighter. I don't care who the fuck you are. I respect him. He was a pioneer of the craft. You cannot not like Bruce Lee, but I mean, martial arts is a lot different now than it was back then. Guys who fight professionally, and fighting professionally, like mixed martial arts is not to get on a tangent about this, but mixed martial arts is different from self-defense, right? There's rules in mixed martial arts. Self-defense is not getting hurt and taking your opponent out of the equation. And you put a guy up who knows, he's fast, whatever, he can kick, and he's developed Jeet Kune Do, which is the theory of mixed martial arts, really, right? It's adapting your own style to what you know. Like he was a practitioner of a Wing Chun Kung Fu, I believe, and it's significantly different in these days. But Chuck Norris was like, all right, I'll be the bad guy and let him beat me. But it's well known that Chuck Norris would have dusted him, you know?
Yeah.
Which is sad. You don't want to think that, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be like, oh, fuck, you lose, you know? But
I'll give you, if you answer this one correctly, we say you scored perfect. It's bonus points on this one.
All right, all or nothing.
True or false? Chuck Norris did not have a beer during that fight between Bruce Lee and him.
True.
He did not have a beer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, back in Game of Death too, he didn't have one. He had his chest looked like fucking
hairy as hell.
Don't mess with the Zohan, his pubes.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous. There's actually a scene in that movie where he rips his chest hair out, you know?
Yeah.
Best part of that movie, actually, in my opinion, Game of Death, and it's as coming from a martial artist, but a cat lover, is that the final fight, they like
the cat,
off, and then you hear like a meow, and there's a fucking cat just like watching them. That's it. And like this for some reason the director's like, let's just put that in there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go, Paul. You scored.
That was great,
perfect.
guys. Thank
you.
I
redeemed yourself.
that.
Perfect score, 10 out of 10. With the bonus point, you actually got 11 out of 10, which brings us to our final segment, Final Thoughts.
Hey,
Finally.
It's awesome, man.
When that intro kicked in, Jordan was like, whoa. He's like, what the hell is this?
Final thoughts.
I think it's so good. I should play it again. What do you think?
Yeah, do it.
That's hilarious. Jordan's rocking out and Paul is slitting his throat.
I've been waving this thing around as a rubber knife. It's a training weapon. But,
I wish you guys could see that. All right, final thoughts. We've been over 50 minutes. Jordan, let's start with you. Your final thoughts for episode 11.
I like the trivia thing. I always like trying to stump Paul, the trivia master. I don't think I could go head to head with you. I like to pride myself, and I know a lot of random bullshit, but I think especially like when it comes to movies and stuff like that, you kick my ass. Kick my ass.
Yeah.
But one day, I think when it's general trivia knowledge, I think you and I should give it a go.
Place anywhere.
Yeah.
We should.
Yeah, definitely. I don't really have too much to say. I'm headlining at Yuck Yucks. You want tickets? Hit me up. Come on out to the show. And if you want to try something new, something fun, something special, if you want to sing me a song, want to do some magic, come down to the Mill Tavern every Thursday for the open mic. A lot of fun.
Somebody coughing in the background there. Monica coughing in the back?
Yep.
That was awesome, man. All right.
Where did I put my purse?
We're going to Poutine Fest later. She's trying to get ready. So I got like this like ring light. And she was coming over here to grab some stuff, and the light just went plump. I'm like, you get the move.
All right, that was Jordan and Monica's final thoughts. Paul Bourgon, let's go to you. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Well, I have two, I think. When we were talking about that, you were talking about this that bit about stump Paul. I immediately thought about because I have a stump and I had a tree removed in the front, and I thought about stumping the stump, like going up to the stump and recording me, like asking the stump, like how many monkeys were there in the Wizard of Oz, and like just looking at the stump and being like, he got me again. I can't stump him, you know.
You should, man. We'll play the video.
Yeah, be like all my other jokes, but that and. We've had a busy week. Did 3 shows yesterday. It was the first time ever. And like, regardless of the fact that they did well or not, in my opinion, it was a good feeling as a comedian to reach a point where like, holy shit, like it's hard enough for someone who's never done comedy to do it once ever. But like, you got like to do it 3 in one day is, I'm not trying to boast or toot my own horn, but it felt good as the fact that I, was, you're grinding like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, we did this podcast today, and then doing Absolute Comedy on Tuesday. So I've got that going, which should be okay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for that stump, Paul. I like that. It was really nice. Yeah, I like being tested. You know, it's fun. I'm usually a Jeopardy guy, right? Like, I really like watching Jeopardy. I remember a long time ago, I went over to my ex girlfriend's a long time ago, and Jeopardy was on at 6:30 as well as 7:30, and I just found that out, and I went over to the house after, and I'm like, why don't you just watch Jeopardy? Like her mom and her were there in the kitchen, and I'm like, you know, who is Lord Byron? You know, like, I was like answering questions, or like, holy shit. You know, I refuse to do that to this day out of my own kind of anxiety of if I'm doing that, that means I'm stupid. You know, like if I were to, you know, pre-watch a show, like half the time if I watch a Jeopardy rerun, it takes me till like midway through. I'm like, I think I've seen this already. You know, I don't know if you guys watch Jeopardy, but like, you know, when you hear an answer that you don't know, and it's like, you know. What is the powerhouse of the cell? And like, it has like mitochondria, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. Now I know that forever for the rest of my life. Now I know that. And then you watch the fucking rerun of the same show like a month later, and you're like, I know that again. Oh wait, like you just
I already knew that.
So anyway, thanks again for that. That was great. We'll do one for you, Jordan, and Dave will do one for you as well.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Paul. And I've been sick for a week and battling a throat thing. This is the most I've talked for a week, so I don't have any final thoughts. So we'll just sign off and call it a day. So thank you, Jordan. Thank you, Paul. And thank you to all our thousands of viewers across the world. We will see you all next time.
Arigato.
Later, boys.
And new WWE champion, Paul Bourgon. Put your hands together for Paul, everybody.
Sounds like one of you guys has a crow problem.